Kane rules the underworld with an iron fist and a loaded gun. He is judge, jury, and executioner. He expects nothing short of absolute, unquestioned obedience from everyone around him. The only place where his men are free to let loose is at the playground, a brothel, and showroom run by the devil's own brother, Zion. Growing up in the underworld hardens even the softest of hearts, but not Anaïs. Somehow her sweet nature shines through. When she is snatched from the streets and thrown into the playground to work off her father's debts, the darkness of the world tries to dim her light. What happens when the chronically bored ruler of hell finds a flower among the filth? Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to turn your post notifications so you don't miss any of our new videos. And now let's get right into it. In the dimly lit corridors of the playground, where shadows clung to the walls like desperate souls, Kane's presence loomed like a sinister specter. His black eyes, cold as the abyss, scanned the room with an unyielding intensity. His rule was absolute, and disobedience came with a cost. Anaïs, an unexpected blossom in this den of decadence, moved with an ethereal grace that defied the sordid surroundings. Her innocence, a stark contrast to the hardened souls surrounding her, became a beacon of hope amid the darkness. Kane, the tyrant who brooked no weakness, found himself inexplicably drawn to her delicate presence. As Anaïs worked to pay off her father's debts, Kane observed from the shadows, intrigued by the resilience of her spirit. He, the embodiment of cruelty, felt a peculiar fascination with her unwavering kindness. In this realm where morality was a fleeting concept, Anaïs remained a fragile flower, refusing to be tainted by the underworld's filth. In the quiet moments between the chaos, Kane found himself captivated by Anaïs's unwavering light. His heart, encased in the cold armor of ruthless power, began to thaw against his will. The devil's own brother, Zion, watched the unfolding drama with a sly grin, recognizing the irony in Kane's predicament. As the days passed, an unexpected connection forged between the ruler of hell and the tender soul he should have crushed beneath his heel. Anaïs, sensing a glimmer of humanity beneath Kane's tyrannical facade, sought to understand the enigma that lay beneath the darkness. Their interactions became a delicate dance between dominance and vulnerability. Kane, torn between his merciless reputation and the stirrings of an unfamiliar emotion, grappled with an internal conflict that threatened the very foundations of his underworld rule. The denizens of the playground whispered about the unlikely alliance, sensing a shift in the balance of power. Kane's iron grip began to loosen as Anaïs, like a flower pushing through concrete, started to unravel the tightly wound threads of his malevolent existence. In a world where chaos reigned supreme, a reluctant connection blossomed between the ruler of hell and the girl who refused to surrender her light. The underworld, once governed solely by fear, now trembled at the prospect of change. As Kane grappled with the unfamiliar emotions awakened by Anaïs, the underworld watched, waiting to see if this fragile flower could survive the shadows or if it would be consumed by the darkness that surrounded it. As Anaïs navigated the treacherous waters of the underworld, she discovered the complexities beneath Kane's veneer of cruelty. His loaded gun and iron fist seemed to waver in her presence, creating ripples of uncertainty among his loyal subjects. The more Kane found himself drawn to her, the more his underworld empire teetered on the edge of transformation. One fateful night, as the playground pulsated with the sinister rhythm of debauchery, an unexpected confrontation unfolded. A rival faction, sensing Kane's vulnerability through his connection with Anaïs, sought to exploit the perceived weakness and overthrow his rule. The underworld erupted into chaos as clashes between rival factions echoed through the dark corridors. Anaïs, caught in the crossfire, became the unwitting catalyst for a rebellion against Kane's oppressive regime. In the midst of the turmoil, she stood as a symbol of hope for those who had long suffered under the ruler's iron grip. Kane, torn between protecting his newfound muse and maintaining his dominion, faced the ultimate test of allegiance. The loaded gun that once symbolized his absolute authority now felt heavy with the burden of choice. Would he cling to the shadows that defined him, or would he dare to step into the light with Anaïs? As the battle reached its crescendo, Kane made a pivotal decision. With a steely resolve, he intervened to shield Anaïs from harm, defying the expectations of those who believed he was incapable of mercy. The Underworld, witnessing their ruler's unexpected act of compassion, fell into an uneasy silence. In the aftermath, as the smoke of conflict cleared, Kane and Anaïs stood amidst the remnants of their world. The Underworld, once governed by fear and brutality, now faced the uncertain dawn of change. Kane, once the ruthless judge, jury, and executioner, found himself at a crossroads, contemplating the cost of his choices. The unlikely alliance between the ruler of hell and the delicate flower had not only altered the course of their lives, but had sent shockwaves through the very fabric of the Underworld. As Kane and Anaïs navigated the aftermath of the rebellion, they discovered that even in the darkest corners, redemption could bloom. The chronically bored ruler of hell had found something he never anticipated, a reason to defy his own nature and embrace a flicker of humanity. And in the process, Anaïs had become not just a flower among the filth, but a force that challenged the very foundations of the Underworld's malevolence.